Welcome back to Studio 5. If taking care of everyone else leaves you feeling tired, frustrated, and overwhelmed, it might be time to try a new way to nurture. Therapist Julie Hanks says women, especially LDS women, feel enormous pressure to do it all, from the kids to work to community service, but end up neglecting their own needs. Let's talk about this. What are some unique challenges that Utah women in particular seem to face?
You know what? It's so interesting that Utah ranks #4 in the nation in terms of reported stress levels. Highest, 4th highest. So we have a lot of stress going on, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why that might be. But in my clinical practice, I think one of the self-imposed stresses that we put on ourselves is comparing ourselves to other people. Oh, well, her kids do this, and oh, my husband's not as nice as hers, they live in a nicer house. So we have this false sense that everybody else has it together and we're just failing at everything, and that is just not the case. You got to trust the therapist.
Social media only propels that belief, I think, because we pop up Facebook and oh my gosh, her house is clean, and her kids are clean, and she's had a shower today, so what's my problem?
Yeah, I'm just such a loser. But we have to get real. No one's life is perfect. Everyone has struggles, burdens, relationship problems, health problems, and I think it's really time to recognize there's no such thing as a perfect woman, a perfect family, a perfect marriage. It doesn't exist, and that's just a barrier that we set up that stresses us out.
As we talk about that high stress, some women might say, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, that adding self-nurture to my list, adding self-care to my list is only going to increase that stress. What do you say to that?
I say no. I generally see women and men in my practice who have neglected themselves for so long that now they need more care from other people to get back to where they were. So self-neglect is never a good long-term strategy for caring for others. You get sick, you get emotionally sick. It just doesn't work for a long-term strategy.
There are plenty of communities and lots of people who are religious, right, and they're faith practicing, but Utah definitely has a unique culture when it comes to that highly religious lifestyle.
Yeah, and that adds, I think, to our commitment level. It's like, if you're an active member of the LDS faith, for example, you have basically a part-time volunteer job in addition to your family and work responsibilities, and that's a lot. And so I think it's really, really important to identify, okay, what do I need? What am I feeling? And let people know what those needs are. I remember working with a client who felt burdened and overwhelmed and burned out with a really heavy church calling, lots of kids, husband that's, professional. And so I helped her identify, and what do you need? And then she went and talked with her church leaders, and her husband said, look, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I need. And so taking responsibility and identifying and expressing that is self-care. It's not just about going and getting pedicures, which I'm all for, but we're talking emotional self-care too. And what am I feeling? What do I need?
When we express those needs in the example you shared with the church leader, with the husband, that doesn't mean we're necessarily taking ourselves out of the opportunity to serve, right?
No.
There are still opportunities. It just is a matter of kind of reining in and balancing.
Right, recognizing those cues. So physically, when we have physical pain, it's a signal. Like something's, you've hurt your knee or you've overexerted your shoulder. Same with emotional pain. If we're overwhelmed, depressed, not feeling like ourselves, that's a signal that we need to take a step back and look at what we need and take care of something.
Another unique Utah tradition, if you want to call it that, is the cultural habit of marrying young. We do marry at a younger age.
We are
in
#1 in terms of youngest marriages. Grooms average age 26, brides age 23, which is by far the youngest.
23 is young,
it's
Julie,
really
and
young.
that's a lot to take on at such a young age.
It really is, and I was a child bride. I was 20 in 3 months.
Okay, you were below the average.
I know, definitely below average in a lot of areas.
I was way above, so we'll balance it out.
So I worked with a lot of young couples in Utah who take on this commitment and then are like, we're not prepared for this financially, emotionally. And so I think it's really important, and this is something I'm really grateful that I knew to do. It's important to develop those, continue to develop your sense of self, your talents, your education, because you can't just abandon your own development to take care of a husband and children. It just doesn't work long term.
And the word I think of is identity, right? You
Right.
want to maintain that personal identity. How
Right.
can you strengthen that, even if you get married at 22, 23?
Well, so identity precedes intimacy. The stronger your sense of self, the healthier your relationships can be. And so I think, continuing to pursue your passions. Don't just, if you love playing violin, don't stop. If you're a painter, don't stop just because you've taken on these other responsibilities. You have to modify it as you add responsibilities. Continue your education, continue learning, and learning about yourself.
What do you say to the woman out there, and there are many in our state, who have 5, 6, 7 kids and say,
yeah.
Julie, I do not have time to add myself to that list. I can't take care of myself and my family.
Well, no one has the time. You have to make the time, you have to take the time, right? And sometimes that means requiring those around you to support you. So often women see themselves as the nurturer, which is so great, but it's okay to require other people to support you. And I think we don't hear that enough. Like, it's okay, so I'm giving permission. It is okay. And sometimes it's just one small thing a day for you. So I worked with a mom who had 3 small, very active kids, one with special needs. Her one small thing every day was she'd get up a little bit, 10 minutes early before her kids did, and do yoga and some meditation, some stretching, and just kind of clear her mind to gear up for taking care of her kids. So one small thing every day. It doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much energy and effort.
You deserve at least that. Really quickly, I want to ask you about what you call a misconception that most Utah women work in the home and not just outside of the home. There are a lot of working women in our state.
Utah has it is above the national average in terms of number of working women and working moms. And some may be surprised by that. But part of it is we have the youngest population too. So we have a lot of people who are young, working on their education, getting married young. It's so high stress. So I like to think of a race car. Race cars have pit crews. They have a crew that is ready to change the tires, fill them up with gas. And I think that Utah moms, and I'm speaking for myself, I need this too, assemble a pit crew. Who's on your pit crew? Is that best friend you can call and go, it's out of control, help, save me? Or is it a massage therapist? Is it a therapist? Is it a personal trainer? Is it your spouse? Is it your best friend? Somebody who lives across the country you can call? We all need a support system, and it's okay to ask for that, and it's actually okay to say, you're on my pit crew. Just so you know, I'm going to be calling you for that.
To call it out and identify it for what it is. I like that.
And the higher the stress, the faster you're moving through life, the more critical self-care is. We tend to go, oh, well, I don't have time. No, it's actually more important the more stress you have in your life.
You are passionate, it shows, about this topic, self-care and the need to nurture, and that is going to come out in full force with the new release of Julie's book. We're so excited about. You've written this over the last year. It's been really a labor of love.
It has. So it's called The Burnout Cure, an emotional survival guide for overwhelmed women.
That says it all.
So that may include some Studio 5 viewers, I don't know. And I speak from experience in the book too, because I have oftentimes been an overwhelmed woman. So
taking pre-orders now.
Taking pre-orders and available in stores on August 6th.
We're so excited.
I can't wait.
Julie, thank you so much. The Burnout Cure is how we've been referring to it, kind of a shortened title around here. Pre-orders are available now. We'll send you to Julie's website for more information, and we will post a link at studio5.ksl.com. We'll hear more about that book as we draw closer to the release date here in a couple of weeks.